Hey everyone, it's Eric Gardiner with BLACKWELL Realty Group and HeyEric.com, and today I wanted to talk about the pros and cons of whether to buy a new build, which we have a lot of here in the Wasatch Front, or an existing home that maybe you got to fix up. Thanks for joining me. First, I got to tell you, I love new construction. Every time I help a client figure out a lot, design a home, pick out, what upgrades make sense to them. I love touring them. I like picking out stuff. It is so much fun. It's fun to kind of be creative. It's fun to have that new house smell. It's fun to be in those areas. So personally, I love new construction, but on the other side of things, I live in a house that's 96 years old. It is old. And I've been remodeling it for the last 10 years. So I kind of understand both sides of the equation. But I just wanted to preface that because I love new construction. But why do I live in such an old home? First, let's go over the pros of new construction. Number one, customization. You get to customize your home a little bit. You get to pick certain things out, different changes in the floor plan, certain finishes, tiles, paints like that. It's a lot of fun to do. So you get to kind of just shape it to what you want. Second, it's all new materials. It's the latest, highest tech plumbing, wiring. You're not going to be dealing with old galvanized pipes or copper pipes. It's all PEX. Newer things like sprinkler systems that are better, that more automatic, more smart features in homes. It's just new stuff compared to an old home. Third, you're the first owners. No one's ever lived in the home before. You know the history of it. You still have that new home smell. You're not having to shampoo the carpets 5 times because there's stains from the last owners. Fourth, it's a brand new community. There's a whole bunch of people just like you that are buying homes in a new build community. So you always got a few families that you're going to make friends with. Your kids are probably going to play with. So that's a really fun aspect of the new build decision. Some of the cons though, also customization. You can only stay within the narrow window of the builder. You're not getting a full custom home, obviously because the price is less than full custom, but you can, pick between there's 6 different types of flooring, there's 6 different types of tile, there's 6 different wall paints. So while you can customize, you can't go full custom like you might want. Upgrades. They ain't cheap. When you walk through a model home at a new build construction site, typically that model home has everything dressed to the nines. They got the granite countertops, they got the super nice backsplashes, they got the excellent light fixtures, everything's amazing, the best trim, the 10-foot ceilings. Just remember, that's all gonna add up as you go through your build. That just price points, line item prices just start to creep up. So while you can go super custom with everything that you add, it's going to cost more. So when they advertise a base price of $500,000, that's typically for the bottom of the line, unfinished basement, cheap stuff. And if you want the nice stuff, it's going to increase $600,000, $650,000, somewhere like that. Third, building takes time. Typically in Utah, it's a 9-month build time, but remember, the builders have it in the contract that if there's a weather delay, there's other delays that could take even longer. So make sure you're in a position where you have a little flexibility on your move date, whether you're in a lease or whether you're going to sell your house as it gets to the completion date. Fourth, inflating costs. We saw this in 2021 especially because the cost of lumber was going up, the cost of labor was going up. So some contracts that were signed in early 2021, they would be almost to completion, and then the builder went back to the client and said, no, instead of this being a $400,000 townhome, it's now a $450,000 townhome. So you either pay the extra or you walk. And that happened a lot. And unfortunately, hopefully your builder doesn't do that to you. Hopefully you read over the contract or have a great buyer's agent that helps you read over the contract to make sure that doesn't happen. Now for the fixer-upper home. And now this isn't like a true, you got to do everything. It's probably habitable. This is kind of like my home. I bought it 10 years ago in a great neighborhood that I liked in the Sugar House area, but it needed a lot of work. First, pro is price. You maybe spend a little bit less money. You get into a nicer neighborhood. Because it's not a brand new home or a really nice home, you buy into a neighborhood that has a lot of upside maybe. You can really max out where you're at because you're buying a fixer-upper that maybe someone else doesn't want. Second, property taxes. Because the home isn't in that good a shape, maybe taxes are lower. It hasn't been increasing, the assessed value hasn't been increasing as quickly as a new build community. Third, sweat equity. So the more things you do in the home that you're fixing up, the more equity that you're building into the home. So, 2 years down the road, all of a sudden you've replaced all the floors, you've painted it, you've maybe done some exterior, and your home is naturally increased in value because you've done those things. And maybe you're saving some of the costs in like a general contractor because you're actually going to the subcontractors that do all the work for you. Okay, now the cons of an older home. First is time. It takes a lot of time to fix up a house. Trust me, I've done it. Especially if you're doing it yourself, you're going to be spending every hour after work, every hour of the weekend fixing it up. And like the old saying goes, time is money. So if you don't have the time, maybe it's not the best idea for you, or just hire it out to a general contractor. Second, remodeling costs. Going over budget is easy. There can be surprises. You start with, we want this type of tile flooring, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, maybe we should get the nicer one. Maybe we need this type. Maybe we need the nicer paint. So think about that. It's easy to go under budget, so set a budget, get an idea of what you actually want in the home, and stick to it. Don't just go willy-nilly and say, hey, we're going to upgrade this, then all of a sudden you've just blown your budget out of the water. Last con of a remodel, surprises. Like I said before, you could tear open, say you take down your kitchen cabinets, all of a sudden plumbing is where it needs to not be, or it's even older than you thought, so all of a sudden you got to call the plumber and get them to fix that, remove it, take out an old cast iron pipe and put it in a new 1.5 inch vent pipe. Maybe you got to relocate electrical because you decided to move a wall and there's a lot of electrical in there. So surprises can happen very, very easily in an older home. So be aware of that also. Again, the pros and cons are pretty tough. It really depends on location. If you love the location of a new build, I say go for it. If you love the location of an existing home that you want to fix up, then go for that. But you got to remember there are going to be different cost structures that are involved, but you want to be where you want to be. So follow your heart in that aspect, and then just meter and measure your time and your money as you go along. Again, thanks for joining me. Go to heyeric.com, subscribe to our newsletter. You can even get the top dollar report on how to sell your home quickly and for the most money possible. And thanks for joining me.